March 9th, 1974. A remote jungle island in the Philippines. An old soldier steps out of the tree line. His uniform is 30 years old, patched, repaired, held together with fibers of tree bark. His rifle is oiled, polished, and loaded. He stands at perfect attention. This man has been fighting World War II for 29 years after it ended. Leaflets told him the war was over. He didn't believe them. Newspapers, radio broadcasts, search parties calling his name. He dismissed every single one as an enemy trick. Tonight, his war will finally end. Not because of an army, not because of a government. Because of one man, a bookseller from Japan, carrying a 30-year-old promise. This is the case of Lieutenant Hiroo Onoda. The soldier time forgot. December 1944. The Japanese Empire is collapsing. American forces are advancing island by island across the Pacific, and on a small island called Lubang, 75 miles southwest of Manila, a 22-year-old intelligence officer receives his final assignment. His name is Hiroo Onoda, trained in guerrilla warfare, trained in sabotage, trained to never stop. His commanding officer, Major Yoshimi Taniguchi, gives him an order that will consume the next 3 decades of his life. 3 parts, simple, absolute. 1. You are forbidden to surrender. 2. You are forbidden to take your own life. 3. Hold your position and continue the fight. No matter what happens, no matter how long it takes. And then the major adds a promise, a sentence Onoda will replay in his mind every single day for 29 years. It may take 3 years. It may take 5. But whatever happens, we will come back for you. 2 months later, American forces storm Lubang. The Japanese garrison is shattered. Most soldiers are killed or captured within days. But 4 men slip into the jungle-covered mountains, Lieutenant Onoda, and 3 enlisted soldiers under his command. They carry rifles, a few hundred rounds of ammunition, and orders that have no expiration date. The war for them has just begun. August 1945. Japan surrenders. The Second World War is over. 200 million people around the world celebrate in the streets. On Lubang, 4 men in the jungle hear nothing. Then, in October, an airplane passes over the island. Paper flutters down through the canopy like snow. Leaflets, printed in Japanese. The war ended on August 15th. Come down from the mountains. Onoda picks one up, studies it, and makes the decision that will define his life. It's a fake. Think about his logic. Because inside his world it was flawless. He was an intelligence officer, trained in enemy deception. He knew the Americans dropped propaganda, and the leaflet contained small errors, phrases no Japanese official would write. To Onoda, this wasn't proof the war had ended. It was proof the enemy was desperate to flush him out. So the leaflets fall, and the war goes on. The 4 men settle into a routine that will last decades. They move camp constantly, never sleeping in the same place twice. They eat green bananas boiled in coconut milk. They steal rice and cattle from island farmers. They patrol. They gather intelligence on an enemy that no longer exists. During rainy season, they build shelters of branches and live soaked for months. They repair their uniforms with wire and tree fiber. They clean their rifles with palm oil. Every day, for years, more leaflets fall. Newspapers are left in the jungle, letters and photographs from their own families. Onoda examines each one like an intelligence officer and finds a reason to reject them all. If the war were truly over, why would anyone go to this much trouble? The louder the world insisted, the deeper his certainty grew. It is one of the most extraordinary documented cases of a mind sealing itself inside a mission. A war kept alive by pure discipline, but even the strongest loyalty cracks. Private Yuichi Akatsu, the youngest of the four, walks away from the group. 6 months later, he surrenders to Filipino forces. He returns to Japan alive and tells the world 3 men are still out there, still fighting. For Onoda, this is not hope. This is catastrophe. Akatsu knows their tactics, their trails, their hideouts. The enemy now has everything. The remaining 3 sink deeper into the jungle and deeper into the war. A search party sweeps the beach at Gontin. Corporal Shoichi Shimada raises his rifle. A single exchange of gunfire, and Shimada falls, dead on the sand, 9 years after the war ended. He was 39 years old. Now there are 2, Onoda and Private First Class Kinshichi Kozuka. 2 men, 1 island, and a war only they can see. They fight on together for 18 more years. 18 years. Then, October 1972, Onoda and Kozuka slip down from the mountains to burn rice collected by farmers. A raid, in the logic of their endless war. Philippine police respond. 2 shots. Kozuka collapses. 27 years after the surrender of Japan, he becomes its final combat casualty. The news detonates in Japan. If Kozuka was alive all this time, then Lieutenant Onoda, officially declared dead 13 years earlier, might still be out there. Search parties comb Lubang for months. His own elderly father stands in the jungle with a loudspeaker, begging his son to come home. Nothing. Onoda watches them from the shadows and stays hidden. The greatest armies, governments, and search teams had failed for 29 years. And then came a college dropout with a backpack. February 1974. Norio Suzuki, 24 years old, drops out of university and leaves Japan with a plan he announces to his friends like a joke. He is going to travel the world to find 3 things: Lieutenant Onoda, a wild panda, and the abominable snowman, in that order. Everyone laughs. 4 days after arriving on Lubang, Suzuki finds Onoda, not with soldiers, not with helicopters. He simply camps alone in the open by a jungle stream and waits. Onoda, watching this strange, harmless figure in socks and sandals, does something he hasn't done in decades. He steps out of the trees. They talk through the night. Suzuki tells him the war has been over for 29 years. Japan is rebuilt, prosperous, at peace. Onoda listens politely and refuses. But this time, the refusal comes with a condition, and it changes everything. Onoda explains he is a soldier. He received his orders from a superior officer, and he will stand down for one thing only: a direct counter order, delivered in person, by that same officer, Major Yoshimi Taniguchi, the man who promised, "We will come back for you." Suzuki photographs the 2 of them together as proof, and races back to Japan. The government searches for Taniguchi, and they find him. The former intelligence officer is now a quiet, elderly bookseller. Imagine that phone call. A man selling books in a peaceful country is told, "There is a soldier in a jungle 5,000 kilometers away, still fighting your war, and you are the only human being on Earth who can end it." March 9, 1974, Lubang Island. Onoda approaches the meeting point at dusk, cautious, armed, scanning for an ambush, exactly as he has for 29 years. And there, standing in the clearing, is his commanding officer, 30 years older, in civilian clothes. Onoda snaps to attention and reports for duty. "Lieutenant Onoda, sir." Reporting. And Major Taniguchi, reading from an official document, delivers the last order of the Second World War. All combat activity is to cease immediately. 29 years of war end in under a minute. Onoda would later describe the moment a storm broke inside him. The mission that had organized every hour of his existence, gone. He pulled the bullets from his rifle, and for the first time since 1944, stood in the jungle as a man with no orders. The next day, in his rotted, hand-stitched uniform, he formally surrenders, presenting his samurai sword to the President of the Philippines. The President pardons him and hands the sword back, but the files record a darker ledger. In 29 years of a war that didn't exist, some 30 Filipino islanders were killed in encounters with Onoda's cell. Farmers, villagers, police. To Onoda, they had been enemy combatants. To their families, the war he refused to end was never a legend. It was a funeral. Onoda returned to Japan a national hero. Crowds at the airport, cameras everywhere. And the files say he received his back pay, 29 years of a lieutenant's salary. But here's what the official story leaves out. Onoda couldn't recognize his own country, the discipline, the honor culture, the Japan he had fought for, replaced by neon, traffic, and prosperity he didn't understand. Within a year, the most loyal soldier in Japanese history left Japan. He moved to Brazil, bought land in the wilderness, and became a cattle rancher, choosing once again a life on a frontier. Years later, he returned home with one final mission, a wilderness school, teaching children the survival skills that had kept him alive. He died in 2014, 91 years old, and Norio Suzuki, the dropout who found him in 4 days, he kept his list. He found his panda, and in 1986, in the Himalayas, hunting the third item, the abominable snowman, Suzuki died in an avalanche. He was buried by the mountain, chasing legends, having already caught the greatest one himself. Was Hiroo Onoda the most loyal soldier who ever lived, or a man imprisoned by his own discipline? Tell me in the comments, because the next file we open is one of the strangest secrets of that same war. An entire American army made of inflatable tanks, sound trucks, and actors. 1,100 men whose mission was to fool Hitler himself. Subscribe to Declassified Chronicles. Some stories were never meant to stay buried.